Any tips on getting into the MCU there, Korg?
Have a dream, chase it, lose that dream, just sabotage all sorts of happiness in pursuit of that dream, climb up to the peaks of that mountain, and when you get to the top, land at the bottom and realize you're never gonna achieve that dream, and at that point, check your emails. Maybe you'll get something from your agent saying, Marvel wants to talk.
Yeah, I prefer Dark World.
Did Deadpool and Wolverine save the Marvel Universe? The last Marvel movie I saw was Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It took me a minute to recall this because the MCU has just become so increasingly indistinguishable, plagued by an identity crisis. The multiverse concept, once intriguing, has honestly overstayed its welcome, diluting the stakes. Now, any character can die and conveniently be replaced by an alternate version.
Would you look at that? It seems like we have ourselves a finished painting. So from our family to yours, keep your pants dry, your dreams wet, and remember, hugs not drugs.
I know this is a common trope in the comics, but it really just takes away from the stakes of the story. This over-reliance on member berries where familiar faces are flashed before us to invoke nostalgia, it's a slippery slope.
Remember addicts? Remember? Hey, remember Ghostbusters? Oh, I remember Slimy?
While Deadpool and Wolverine avoids falling into this trap entirely, I can't help but feel burnt out by the endless cameos in the multiverse saga in general.
I'm touching myself tonight.
Sean Levy directs this movie, and his direction is sharp and focused. His experience with action comedies like Free Guy and Real Steel is evident in the film's tone and pacing. The editing is tight, with each scene flowing smoothly into the next, maintaining a consistent rhythm that keeps the audience engaged. This movie injects much needed fresh air into the MCU, with Hugh Jackman's return as Wolverine feeling neither forced nor unearned. His chemistry with Ryan on screen is spot on, and the movie keeps you engaged from start to finish. The simple premise is well executed with a few cool cameos sprinkled throughout. By the end, I felt the need for more, driving myself back into the comics, reigniting a passion I thought was long lost. Recently, I started reading the Wolverine run by Chris Claremont and Frank Miller. Then I realized as I was reading it, this is what the Wolverine movie was based on. I will say ninjas and Wolverine mix pretty well. The artwork and writing were awesome, and it just reminds me why I fell in love with comic book media in the first place, and that there's so much great source material to create stories from. There's just no excuse, but part of the problem is Marvel is avoiding hiring writers who are actually passionate about the projects they want to work on, instead hiring people who might have a fresh take on the genre. And I'm all for that, but it's just at a point now where it ruins the quality of the stories that Marvel is producing. What sets Deadpool 3 apart from other multiverse movies is that the multiverse isn't the main focus, it's merely a backdrop. Unlike Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where the multiverse was the selling point, Deadpool 3 places its characters at the forefront. This shift in focus makes the movie more refreshing and engaging. This is also why I believe Loki was so well received, because the show is about Loki, exploring his motivations and why he did the things he did, and trying to understand himself through those things and find out what kind of god he wants to be. I find in Marvel movies when spectacle takes a back seat and we get more grounded character-centric projects, they're just better across the board. Now I feel like Marvel's priority is trying to catch lightning in a bottle again like they did with Infinity War and Endgame, making movies with huge spectacles and so many characters where the stakes couldn't be higher, but it was earned. Prior to Endgame, we had a huge catalog of pretty solid solo and team-up films, obviously with some outliers, but hey, you can't win them all.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
You have questions.
Yes. I had a lot of questions. I'm sure you had a lot of questions, but rest assured, we're going to answer them right now.
With interconnectedness and scale not being the priority, but just creating fun movies. And that's the category of MCU films Deadpool fits into. Not chasing the spectacle or the scale, but just trying to create a fun movie. And across the board, they succeeded in that. Overall, the movie's pacing, character focus, and blend of humor with action are its strongest points. The chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Jackman carries the movie, honestly, making it more than just another multiverse cash grab. Honestly, Deadpool 3 rekindled my interest in the MCU and comics in general, serving as a refreshing reminder of why I fell in love with these characters and stories in the first place. It brought back the excitement of discovering complex, layered characters who aren't just driven by spectacle, but by genuine emotion and conflict. The movie taps into Marvel's vast library of source material in a way that feels both nostalgic and innovative. This approach highlights how much untapped potential lies within the comics, waiting to be adapted by writers who genuinely understand and care about these stories. For years, the MCU has thrived on the interconnectedness of its universe, but as the franchise expanded, it began to lose some of that initial spark. Deadpool 3 felt like a return to form, where the focus was on telling a compelling, character-driven story, than rather simply setting up the next big crossover event. This movie reminded me that at the heart of every great comic book are well-crafted characters and a story worth telling. Marvel has an immense reservoir of rich, intricate narratives in its comics that could rejuvenate the cinematic universe if adapted thoughtfully. It's time for Marvel to dig deeper into these stories, bringing in writers and creators who are not just skilled, but also passionate about the source material. The success of Deadpool 3 should be a signal to Marvel that there's a hunger for more authentic, character-driven stories, one that respects people's time and the legacy of the comics while also pushing boundaries of what superhero films can be. Hopefully, this movie will serve as a wake-up call, showing that when the focus shifts back to strong storytelling and character development, the magic that once made the MCU so captivating can be reignited. While Deadpool 3 may not have saved the MCU, it's undeniably a step in the right direction. It's a fun, character-driven movie that doesn't rely solely on spectacle and scale.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.